So the crime was conspiracy to supply Class A articles to HMP prison. Yeah, so yeah, that's the only memory that I have of my dad. So me going to prison, like my dad went to prison, so for me going to prison for drugs, it was like, what can he say?
Yeah.
So, and he made me take that parcel to work, and he's like, send it on your lunch break. Yeah. So I've got like a parcel full of drugs in my bag.
Yeah.
And I'm working in the civil service. Yeah. So check this, right? When females come into prison, there'll be the studs. Yeah. The studs like the fresh meat. Yeah. But the fresh meat comes, oh no, I've got a boyfriend. Yeah. Then within 3 weeks, like, oh yeah, I'm bi-curious.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it changed that quick.
Yeah. Delinquent Nation, Prison Diaries. This is Parice. And obviously you've been to prison before, so you're going to tell us a bit about that. Yeah. But we know each other personally for a long time, innit?
Yeah, we do.
All right, so I think you've got quite an interesting story, so we're going to get to know a bit about you. First of all, tell us a bit about your background, like, life before going to prison.
Well, my background, I'm 29, so I grew up in the 90s, some of the 90s anyway. I come from a single parent background, and this is a little bit more unique because, as I said, my dad's got loads of kids. Yeah. And I've got twin brothers who are 5 months younger than me. So then when I moved to the ends, I was hanging around with my brothers and their friends. Like we were like a group. Yeah. So, and my brothers, they're bad.
Yeah, they're bad kids.
Yeah. So I got worse when I moved to the ends.
Oh, yeah.
So like, we would like rob bud yards. Like, you know what a bud yard is, right? Yeah, we'd rob bud yards and
like grow houses. They're growing weed and that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, we do things like go to where the rich kids were having house parties. We'd be like, what can we get? PlayStation, dumb stuff. Yeah. And then it got to this stage where I had a fight with somebody and I got charged with ABH. And then I said, I remember them saying to me, if you don't do anything else, this will be wiped off your record by the time you're 18. Yeah. So when I got to 17, that's when I came to London.
You moved down to London?
Yeah, I moved down to London by myself.
Yeah.
And then, I was good because I didn't have that influence around me anymore. Yeah. And then...
was you living in London by yourself, yeah?
Yeah, I was living by myself, yeah. Well, when I first moved, so what happened was I moved to London when I was 17, moved with my uncle and my step-gran, West Indians.
Yeah.
Well, you can't go out past 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm used to being out doing what I want to do. So I came back to Bristol and then I was there for about 4 or 5 months, and I came back to London, and from there I've been in London ever since. Apart from when I came out of prison.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, what about? Because I know about your dad going away when you was younger, innit?
Yeah. So as I said, my dad was absent, and obviously I had my stepdad and a babysitter. Well, not a babysitter, a younger sister. She's 4.5 years younger than me. We had our family unit, so. He had no interest in me when I was a kid. Well, that's what my mum says anyway. He had no interest in me. He says different, but, there's 2 sides to every story. So when he went to prison when I was 8, 7.5, 8. And I remember we got a letter from him. And I remember my mum reading it. But my mum's body language is like, it was out, like she was disgusted. Yeah. And I remember her like reading it and being like, oh, your dad wants to have contact with you, but we don't want contact with him, do we? Although I wanted to, I was like, no, I don't. No, I don't. I just went with what my mum wanted.
Yeah.
And then...
just sorry to cut. What did your dad go to prison for?
My dad went to prison for murder.
Yeah. Did he get a life sentence?
Yeah.
So was you aware at that time that your dad was going to be away for a long time?
No.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I didn't have a clue. I just remember getting the letter. I don't remember what I was thinking. Maybe I wasn't thinking anything different because back then there wasn't much mobile phones or anything like that. So a letter probably seemed normal at that stage in my life. So we got the letter and my mum said no. But then when my mum and my stepdad had broken up, I remember saying, I want to talk to my dad.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to upset my stepdad. But then when my stepdad left the house, I was like, I want to talk to my dad.
Yeah.
And then, from there, my only memories of my dad as a child is prison. So
Yeah. Did you used to visit him? Or was
my
you not
mum never
allowed to at the time?
drove.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, my mum, like I said, like, I come from a poor background, so my
Yeah.
mum's like, she never owned a car. We relied
Yeah.
on bus
Yeah.
and whatnot. So my dad would like get his friend to come and pick us up
Yeah.
and take us there, or sometimes my auntie would take me.
How did it feel like for most of your life seeing your dad on prison visits? Like,
It was
did that affect you mentally, or was it just normal? Was it just a norm for you?
it was it's the only thing that it was the only thing that I knew.
Yeah.
So I can't say that it affected me per se, but it's definitely had an impact on how desensitized I am to prison, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that later on, it takes its toll later on in life on you.
So yeah, that's the only memory that I have of my dad. So me going to prison, like my dad went to prison for murder. So for me going to prison for drugs, it was like, what can he say?
Yeah.
So
that's on to our next point. Yeah, what did you go prison for?
So the crime was conspiracy to supply Class A articles to HMP prison.
Okay.
Yeah.
What can you tell us a bit more about that and what you got? In fact, yeah, tell us a bit more about that first.
Yeah.
Like,
what you want to know, like how I got into it, or
like, yeah. So first of all, like, how did you how did it all happen? How did you get involved in that? And yeah, tell us a bit about, and then tell us what sentence you got and what role you played in it.
Okay. So I was in a relationship with a guy.
In prison?
In prison, yeah. He was almost 10 years older than me.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was 23. He was
30.
32 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 32. To begin with, this is the thing, like, I kind of call it, not grooming, but it was kind of like grooming, because what happened was from the start, it was like, he had a weed habit.
Yeah.
So he would be like, oh, my friend's going to drop this amount. Can you give it to the teacher? And the teacher will bring it in to me. It was just for him.
Okay.
And then also it's things like CDs and fish, because he would get it the following day. Because he was in Wormwood Scrubs.
Yeah.
So, I lived in Northwest London. Wormwood Scrubs is like down the road.
Yeah.
So having fish in a box,
Yeah.
it never went off because it was such a short space of time.
Yeah.
So with that, I just didn't feel like, I can't really get in trouble for that, and I'm not actually bringing it in.
Yeah.
So I was
you
cool
was
with
just
it.
giving it to a teacher, and the teacher was bringing it into prison.
And the teacher was bringing it into prison, yeah.
Okay.
So so it started off like that, and then it got to the stage where first of all it was just weed going into prison. So again, I would give it to the teacher, he would bring it in.
Did you feel like did like alarm bells start going off when he was like, could you give this stuff to the teacher? Did you think it was like, well, I'm not going to get in trouble for this? Or
yeah, that's exactly how I felt, because I was like, I'm not actually bringing anything in.
Yeah.
That's how I condoned it in my head, because some women will plug drugs and bring them into the prison, and that's one thing that I wouldn't do, because I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke weed, like I've never taken a party, nothing. So for me to put that in my body, I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So no alarm bells went in my head, because it was just weed. And also, like I said, the teacher was bringing it in, so I didn't feel no way about it.
Yeah.
But that changed. It was like every time there was a new parcel, it got more and more filled with stuff that was
more than weed,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
when it started turning into things like Class A's and that, did you start to get nervous then? Or did you still think, I'm not part of this, I'm just giving it to the teacher, the teacher's doing it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I was nervous. It was more of a case of, I don't like Class A drugs.
Yeah.
And, I remember saying to my ex on a number of occasions, like, I'm cool with the weed, I'm cool with the spice, I'm cool with the phones.
Yeah.
I'm not cool with Class A. Because, my dad was in prison still at that stage.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I have the ability to step outside of my shoes and try and look through somebody else's perspective. Yeah. So my whole thing is that, you get people out here that are drug users,
Yeah.
and there's so much things that draws them back into taking drugs. You would think out of all the places where you can't get hold of drugs,
Yeah.
it should be prison.
Prison, yeah.
That should be the place that you can get clean,
Yeah.
So...
But it's as flooded in prison
Yeah,
as it is.
exactly. And, my ex is the kind of person to be like, well, if they don't get it from me, they're going to get it from somebody else.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
but that's the wrong attitude to have,
Yeah.
you know?
That's how I used to think. I used to feel, when I used to sell drugs, I used to feel like,
Yeah.
if I'm not selling it, someone else is going to sell it.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Like, some people, they just don't have... Like, for me, if it feels wrong, if it feels really wrong in my gut, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know if this happens in male prisons, but, like, when you get to the gate, you come out, there's a drug dealer right there.
Oh,
There'll be a drug dealer right there.
what, just stood there?
Ready for people being released from prison.
Oh, as in like, when you're coming out?
Yeah, when you're coming out.
There's like a shotter.
There's a shotter right there.
Yeah, just waiting.
So, like, imagine you've done like a 5-year sentence,
Yeah.
and you've been clean this whole time, and you're like, okay, because there's this thing called gate fever. Is it gate fever?
Gate happy, we used to call it, like when you're excited about getting released. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. No, in female prison we call it gate fever, where they're like, they're having anxiety, like, oh, I don't want to start using again.
Oh,
so imagine you feel like that, and then the gates open, and you've just got,
it
right there. Like, it's a draw out, and it's wrong.
Yeah,
it's wrong.
I agree with you. So, what sentence did you get?
So I got 18 months and I did 9 months in prison in Holloway.
You got 18 months. What position did they have you in the conspiracy? So, like, did you go guilty? Did you take it to trial?
Yeah.
You went guilty?
Yeah, I went guilty straight away.
How did you feel when they arrested you?
I was... it's kind of a long story, but I'll try and cut it short. So... I was working in the NHS.
We've got time anyways. Got time.
Yeah, I was working at the NHS at the time.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself.
Yeah.
So one thing I said is that I want to be a PA, because I had a friend whose stepmom was the PA of the PA of Harrods. And, freebies, travel.
Yeah,
so I had that in my mind. So I said, one of the good ways of me doing it is getting in the NHS.
Okay.
So I got into the NHS, and I actually moved from London to Watford because my ex wanted me to move to Watford. And I literally live like 100 meters across the road from the hospital that I worked at.
Okay.
So the funny thing is that I got the call from my ex. He was like, "Listen, blah blah, this has happened. I'm probably gonna come for you. So just..."
Oh, so he'd already been nicked.
No, the teacher had been nicked.
Oh, the teacher got nicked.
Yeah.
And he obviously heard about that inside.
Yeah. And then they hadn't have come for him yet. So they're gonna go for him. Then they're gonna probably come for me.
You. Yeah.
So
What did the teacher get nicked bringing the parcel in?
No, so what happened was, like when you're wrapping drugs to get rid of the smell, you wrap it with cling film, and then you get Marmite.
Yeah.
And then you wrap it again. Well, that's what I did. Wrap it again to the point where you shouldn't be able to smell it.
Yeah. So
And
the dog
the
can't smell it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the dog can't smell it, exactly. And the last parcel that we did, that's the point that I forgot to mention. So in the beginning, I was giving it to the teacher.
Yeah.
Then because I moved to Watford, now it's going through the post.
Oh, you was posting it?
Yeah, I was posting it.
Yeah.
And, I would get something like a small box, because it's coming from the education department where the teacher was, and giving it to my ex, would have to like a book or something.
Yeah.
So I would have to, make the box feel as hard as I possibly could.
Yeah.
So because, legally nobody can open your mail. Whether you sent it to work or you sent it at home, nobody can open your mail. So I've done that. And during the time that I was doing it, my ex had woken me up at like 4:00 in the morning. And I said, I've got work tomorrow. Like, I can't be bothered to do it. I'll do it on the weekend. He's like, no, I want it now. Like, I want you to do it now. So I was like, fine. When you're just like, fuck it. I'll just fuck it, just to shut you the fuck up.
Yeah.
So I'm rapid. I'm tired.
Yeah.
So I'm tired. And then he says, oh yeah, by the way, like, can you stop putting so much Marmite on it, because my weed keeps getting sticky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I can't smell properly, and you know that, because obviously I've had sinus, smelling issues or whatever. So so I said I'm comfortable doing like this because I'm assured that this isn't gonna smell.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, listen to me. I've been doing this for how many years and blah blah blah. So I said, okay, we'll do it your way.
Yeah.
We'll do it your way. Again, I was tired. There was crack, heroin, phones, SIM cards, spice, USB,
Yeah.
everything.
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 Yeah.
It was like the biggest one.
Yeah.
For an example, this is how much you took advantage of the situation. As I said, I don't smoke weed or anything.
Yeah.
I thought the weed that I was doing was an ounce of weed.
Yeah.
When it got found, it was, I can't remember if it was 5 or 7. I think it was 7 ounces.
Of weed, yeah.
7 ounces of weed.
Yeah,
Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It was like a carrier bag full. I was like, oh yeah, this is an ounce. Like, I don't, you know, I
You
don't
didn't
smoke,
know,
so I
yeah,
don't have a
yeah,
clue.
yeah.
So anyway, back to what I was saying. So because I had to, like, you know, mash it down small, things are moved around in the box.
Yeah.
So I got a load of carrier bags from underneath the kitchen sink, and I just stuffed the box.
Yeah.
So it felt like hard.
Yeah.
But in the carrier bag, I had a home delivery, and I had my name and my address in it.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they
That's how it
found
come
out.
back to you.
That's how it came back to me. Yeah, because
Wow.
that's the thing when you say, oh yeah, they're gonna that they might come for you. I was thinking, oh, they might come for me, they might not. But obviously, I didn't know
That you had your name on the.
that I had my name on it. Yeah. So yeah, so when I got arrested, they came for me. As I said, I lived like 100 meters away from the hospital.
Yeah.
And they came for me in my workplace. There was 4 of them, plain clothes.
Yeah.
I was going to grab a patient's files in
Yeah.
like, there's like big storage rooms in NHS. There's just books and books and books. And you've got to like wind the aisle is like it moves, you know, like a library.
Yeah.
It like moves. So I've come out of that and I see my boss walking towards me. I had my headphones in and I was listening to music and I was like, oh shit, is she going to tell me off?
Yeah.
But then I see this woman walking behind her. And then as they got closer, you know, she's just ushered like there she is or whatever. And the woman was like, are you Parice, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, we're arresting you under suspicion of blah, blah, blah. So I was like,
Wow.
okay.
In your workplace as
In my
well?
workplace, yeah.
But when they came, was there people watching and that when?
Yeah. There's another thing that pissed me off as well. So they've done what they've done or whatever. They say, oh, we're arresting you. They put handcuffs on me. And then they were, you know, people were looking. Like, they could see something was going on. And then they actually had the cheek to say, oh, do you want us to put your coat over the cuff so people can't see? I'm like, oh yeah, because they can't, you know, what you think they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Taking the fucking piss. I was like, yeah, all right.
So when you was in the police station, so obviously they've arrested you, took you to the police station. Did you get bail or was you remanded from the police station?
I got bail.
Oh, they let you back out.
Yeah, I got bail. Yeah.
Okay, so did you then have a conversation with your boyfriend or your at the time your ex-boyfriend on bail, saying like, right, they've arrested me for this?
Yeah. So I got home. I just had taken a new phone out on contract, so I had 2 phones. Yeah. They took the old phone, which had all my messages in, like all the evidence.
Yeah.
And my new phone was at my desk at my workplace. So I got home. I managed to get my phone after a couple of days, and then I had spoke to my ex, and he was like, oh yeah, oh, so what happened? What did you say? And blah blah. Just said to what I could remember what I said, because you know I was just lying around every bit of evidence that they had. And then imagine he had the cheek to be like, oh, somebody's gonna come and drop. I was like, oh, are you mad?
What, another one?
Yes, I was like, are you fucking crazy? That was the first time he seen me like, you know, like kick off. I was like, no, now you're taking a fucking piss.
Yeah.
I was like, they could be outside my house watching me.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started to get paranoid, because all of a sudden this van had popped up and it was outside my house. And I remember walking past thinking, that's the police, they're watching me. They're seeing if I'm doing anything else. Yeah. But then I actually got to the point where I looked in the van, like, because my paranoia was getting to me. But there was no one there. I was just being paranoid.
Yeah. I can't believe you wanted just to do a whole nother.
That same day. I was like, are you fucking... But this is the thing with him. I kept saying to him, I don't want to do the crack. I don't want to do the heroin. Yeah. The weed is good enough. Yeah. All right. And then the person comes and drops, and what can I do? Flush it down the toilet? I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
He would go sick.
So at that point, didn't you feel like, you know, this guy's not for me, he's getting me arrested and stuff, like, this is, like, you're not even really benefiting of this, like, he was probably the main one benefiting of it, so, or was you just loyal to your man? Because, like, at this point, you must be thinking, right, I might be going to jail for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, at first, so before I got arrested, I knew I had the, you know, I could have potentially got arrested. He had said to me, when you go in, just blame me. That's one thing I can say that he did, just blame me. And I remember saying, like, I can't blame you because, number one, I've got stuff in my phone of you sending texts. Because I remember saying to him, don't send texts to my phone. Or do you think you're Don Pablo or someone like people are, you know, monitoring your phone or whatever? And I'm like, no, but if something happens,
they're going to go through the phone.
They're going to go through my phone. He didn't listen. So he had said, blame me. And I said, I can't because I've got all of that stuff in my phone. And I said, not only that, if I blame you, it's going to be a thing of duress and intimidation.
Yeah, and you'll get more charges.
And you'll get more charges. And then I'm going to be waiting for you for even longer. Because at this point, I think I was already waiting for him for a year and a bit, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, looking back, what I know now, it was abuse and it was coercive behavior. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
but you didn't realise at the time.
Yeah, you don't realise it. Well, I mean, I realise it now, but, you know, when you hear about domestic abuse or domestic violence, you always think of, you know, a man kicking the shit out of a woman. When actually, a man just don't start a relationship and be like, oh, I'm going to kick the shit out of her. You know, it's gradual. So that's why, going back to what I said, like, that's why I feel like I was kind of groomed, because it was bit by bit by bit, to the point where, you know, you turn around and you're looking like, I've got crack, heroin, and everything in my house. And this is the thing as well. I'm working in a hospital, people being treated for things, and he made me take that parcel to work. And he's like, send it on your lunch break. So I've got like a parcel full of drugs in my bag. And I'm working in the civil service. Like, you know,
it's a mad situation.
It's mind-boggling. So yeah, and I remember there was this one time when you said about there was this guy for the right guy for me. I remember there was one time I had all of the stuff in the parcel and I didn't have the address on me, like the Wormwood Scrubs address. So I had to make sure I got it right. And I texted him and I said, can you give me the address again? So he's giving me the address. I'm a bit paranoid, so I'm like, let me pretend I'm shopping. So I'm like, you know, window shopping, looking around. He's taking his time. And I remember I went into Zara and the alarm went off as I went in. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, if I go out and the alarm goes off and they try and look in my bag,
they're going to see it.
They're going to see it. So I remember being, oh my God, I'm going to go to prison. I'm going to go to prison. But I waited for somebody else to walk out at the same time as me. And I walked out and thankfully it didn't go off. But then that was the point where I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. But again, he didn't listen. So
alright, so how has going to prison impacted your life, like in terms of like your criminal record? Like how has it impacted your life? Has it made it harder?
I would say it's impacted it. How can I explain it? Like, for me, I'm not proud of going to prison, but at the same time, I am proud because, like, I survived it. Number one, I survived it. All right, I didn't do that long, but you know what? It's like once you get into the system, it's so easy to go back.
Swallows you up, innit?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I'm proud. And then another reason is because, like, it's opened my eyes to situations that I was blind to before. Like, you know, like before I went to prison, I was quite, I wouldn't say judgmental, but I didn't have the capability to step out of my shoes and step into somebody else's. Like I said, like with drug users and stuff. Some people are like, oh, they're crackheads, they're nitties. And it's like, well, no, something's got them to that point. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, we've all been through something where it's like, oh, I can't take this anymore.
That's true.
Unfortunately, some people use drugs. So it's made me care about my community. And also, is like I said, it's opened my eyes to things like institutional racism. But even when I was in prison, there were certain things that my mind like opened to. Like, for an example, you know, when people are like, oh, prisoners, they get warm bed, they get 3 meals a day, and they don't have to pay no bills. And I'm like, number one, you don't get 3 meals a day. You get one meal. You get one meal
and a sandwich.
And a sandwich. And then on top of that, you do pay bills because, as far as I remember, I had to pay TV license when I was in prison. TV. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then also, like,
even like the phone rates.
The phone, like, the amount of money I spent on my phone. I don't know how much you spent. I spent a lot of money on the phone.
Like, you get £15 like a standard prison, I don't know how it is in women's prisons, but you get £15 a week to get your food, your toiletries, and your credit. You know what I mean? And the credit goes quickly.
Well, in female prison, so things like your toiletries, because we're women, you know, we have periods and stuff like that. They have to give us sanitary pads and they have to give us Tampax.
Oh, okay.
That's something like, you know, it's a human right for us to have that. So they've got to supply it. Soap, you get your prison soap, but you know it doesn't.
No one uses prison.
No one prison. It's nasty. And then like you said, with like £15 in female prison, working, as far as I remember, the most you could earn, standard job was 10. I think the most you could earn was 15.
£15 a week.
Yeah, £15. From what I can remember, I might not be correct, but I remember there was one occasion, and again, this is when my mind opened.
Yeah.
You know, in female prison, you could do things like sewing and cookery, and you can do DIY and stuff as well. Yeah. But one of the courses was like I don't know the right term for it, but basically like, you know, like sewing. Sewing, yeah. So they made like this announcement. They're like, oh yeah, like, you know, if you've got your level 1 in this sewing, you can get a job for Topshop. And Topshop will pay you £15. Yeah. And everyone was like, oh yeah, you know, I've got that. I want to earn £15 a week. Yeah. And I can't remember if somebody asked me or if I just said it, but I remember saying, £15 a week. You want me to work for Topshop for £15 a week? Yeah. And then again, that's when my mind opened, and I was like, they wouldn't send people to prison if they didn't make money from us. Yeah,
it is a money-making thing. So you would be getting paid by the prison £15. Yeah. And the prison's got a contract with Topshop or whatever. And let's say Topshop would have paid you like $250 a week outside or £300 a week outside. Yeah. So
minimum wage.
Minimum wage. Yeah.
Way more on minimum wage.
So prison's getting that, and then they're paying you out of that £15 a week. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
That's how they make their money.
That's how they make their money.
Do you remember your first ever night in prison? And like, obviously the induction process in males' prisons is probably a little bit different in women's prisons, but it might just be the same, innit? But do you remember like your first night in prison, and what was the procedures? So like, you know, coming off the sweat box, going into jail, did they search you? Like, how does it go?
So once I knew I was going to prison, I just said, remand me. They were going to give me bail, but I said, just remand me.
Because you told them to, yeah?
Yeah, I told them to. Because I wasn't scared to go to prison. Because I've been through a lot in my life. So prison was like, I can do this. It's probably easy. That's how I was thinking. Yeah. It wasn't that easy, but yeah, so I just said, remand me. So I knew I was going to prison. So I had my little suitcase. I had, you know, all my bits and bobs that I wanted, that I thought I could bring in.
What did you bring?
I brought I was like, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill. So I brought like, you know, like tracksuits, couple of pairs of trainers, t-shirts, comfy pajamas. Yeah. I was gonna bring a stuffed animal, but I was like, no, people might people might, you know, bully me for that. So I don't want to do that. But yeah, so I don't remember induction, and I don't remember I don't remember being in the van, but I do remember going through the gate. And I remember being like, you know, like logged into the system. Yeah. And because I knew I was going to court, I had like, you know, like a business dress on, a pair of heels and a blazer. I had my hair in weave. Yeah, you know, I looked like, you know, I looked proper. Yeah. So when I went there and they like did what they were doing, they were like, yo, you have to do P tests and stuff. They have to do a pregnancy test.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they have to find out. Yeah, they have to find out that you're pregnant straight away. Yeah, because if you do anything that can endanger that baby, the prison's fucked. So they do like P tests and stuff like that. My first fear was I didn't want to get strip searched.
Did you get strip searched?
No, I didn't.
They don't strip search you anyway.
I didn't get strip searched.
Because for like men, most prisons I've been in, except for one, you get strip searched on the way in. Yeah. And on the way out. They strip search
on the way out too?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I remember saying to my mum, like, if they try and strip search me, I think I'll end up in the seg straight away because I'm funny about stuff like that. Thankfully, I've never been strip searched or anything like that.
You've never got strip searched once in prison?
Never. Wow. Never. Yeah. So when I went in, I was like, you're going to strip search me? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, thank God for that. And they're like, oh, you need to take off your heels. And that's when it's going to sound so stupid, but that's when it dawned on me I was like, oh, I can't wear heels in prison.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, like, where are you going in heels in prison anyway?
Who you trying to impress?
Yeah, who am I trying to impress?
Yeah.
Not that I'm out here trying to impress people. You know when you feel good.
Yeah,
There's certain things that women do to make them feel good, and heels is one thing.
Yeah.
So they took my heels, and I was like, am I not allowed to wear them in here? They're like, no, they've got, the your compartment part, you know, that part that all your the stuff that you
Stored
can't
prop.
bring in. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
They were like, it's gonna go in there, and then you can't wear that dress either. And I was like, what?
Not even a dress.
No, I couldn't wear the dress.
Okay.
So yeah, they were like, yeah, that's got to go down there. And then I think you get like is it a rip off paper where you get a code, and then you're able to call.
Oh yeah, for the pin. So
Yeah.
it rips off. It gives you the pin. It gives you
Yeah.
like £2 credit to
Yeah.
call any number. Yeah,
That's the one. Yeah. So the first person I called was my mum, obviously.
Yeah.
So I called my mum. I was like, you all right? She was like, I'm so upset. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. She was like, you sure? And I was like, they took my heels. I was about to cry over heels. The whole time I didn't cry. The whole time. But then I was like, oh shit, I can't wear heels.
Yeah. Did you was you worried about maybe bullying or?
So there's a lot of misconceptions about female prison, because I heard loads of crazy stories about women forcing themselves on you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I hope nobody tries to sexually assault me or something, because I know me.
Yeah.
I can be violent when I'm ready to be.
Yeah.
Push come to shove.
Yeah.
I do what I need to do. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So my whole thing was, I'm not gonna, because a lot of women go in there as well, and they try to do the I'm about this life type of thing. I'm ready to fight anybody.
Yeah.
I came in on a humble tip, because I was like, I'm not gonna be what's this saying? Pick and choose your battles. I'm not gonna be battling with people over stupid. I don't want a reputation. I just want to do my time and come out. So what the first thing was, lesbians trying it on with me, because I heard that they can be. That's what I heard before I got into prison, that they can push themselves on you and people get sexually assaulted. That wasn't true. But when I went to go do my induction, I remember I still had weight on me, because I got very skinny in prison.
Yeah.
Still had weight on me, and I had my weave in. I looked fresh. You can tell when somebody's fresh when they come, because they've had the sunlight.
Yeah.
They still look healthy. They don't look stressed. And I remember there was one woman. She was like a stud. And I remember she was giving me the eye.
What's a stud? Just for
A
people that
stud
don't know.
is basically it's like a female that looks like a male.
That dresses up like a
Dresses
man.
like a male. Sometimes they have short hair. They might even go to the gym.
Yeah.
So there was this stud looking at me, and I was like, oh, I'm taking this weave out. I'm not doing my eyebrows. I'm not doing anything. I don't want to. Literally that same day.
Yeah.
Just the thing as well, in prison you can't have new scissors.
Oh really?
So I was there with toenail clippers, taking out my weave, because I was like, I don't want to look nice at all in prison.
Attractive.
Yeah.
You thought that she might take you back to her cell or something?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't even that. It was more a case of, oh shit, if she's giving me that, because obviously I was fresh meat. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I was just let me try and blend in as much as I can.
Yeah.
Then from there, I barely oiled my hair.
Yeah.
I didn't do my eyebrows.
Yeah.
Then I got to a stage where I was like a ghost.
Yeah.
I was just amongst everybody else,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. And then my first night. I remember. Obviously, you go onto the. I can't remember what it's called.
Induction wing.
I can't remember if they called it induction wing. They probably did, but yeah, the induction wing.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a wing for first people that's come in.
Yeah.
And then they do it to try and transition you into prison.
Yeah.
They don't try to just throw you in the deep end.
Yeah. They see what type of prison it was. So, because they do that in men's prison as well. When you go into induction, they see what type of prisoner you are.
Yeah.
And how you behave. And then if you're moving mad straight away, they're probably gonna put you on what we will call the Gaza wing, where it's just it's just fuckery, people getting stabbed up, fights, alarm bells going off all the time. But if you're just trying to just get a job, put your head down, they'll probably put you in a more quieter wing, because they don't want.
Yeah.
If you go to the Gaza wing, you're gonna hear music playing till all hours and that. Yeah. And then if you go to a more quiet wing, people are respectful of each other. People just want to get their head down. Yeah. Although fights kick off over there as well, but that's what they do.
It's more of a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what happened with me, because I said how long am I going to be here for?
Yeah.
And they were like, I think the longest they would leave you there was like a week. I went in there.
Yeah,
I
it's about a
stayed the
week or
night there.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even there for 12 hours. They were like, she's good. Like,
So,
she can go.
yeah.
Then they put me on a wing called C4, which anybody who watches this will know C4 is like in Holloway is like, it's the humble wing. So it's
Yeah.
like where the pregnant women are, where the older people are. Like,
Yeah.
because they could just tell from offset I was humble.
Yeah.
Unless you start with me,
Yeah.
there's no reason for me
Yeah.
to just. I'm not a bully. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to get a name. You know,
Yeah.
I was just like, I just want to do. Like I said, I just want to do my time and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So just touching on what you said about pregnant women and that, what happens with pregnant? Do you know what happens with pregnant women? So say you go to prison and you're pregnant.
Yeah.
What happens if the child is born? Like, what happens with that?
So what will usually happen? So one of my friends who I shared. So when I first went in, I was sharing with one woman, and then she moved out, and then another woman moved in, and I was like, I don't like this cell. It's too small.
Yeah.
And I ended up being friends with a group of girls, and one of them was like, I call her my bedtime bestie, Shiv.
Yeah.
So I was like, Shiv, when somebody's ready to move out here, let me know because I want to move into the dorm.
Yeah.
So it was 4 of us.
Yeah.
2 of them were pregnant, and then it was me and Shiv.
Yeah.
One of them, her name's Terry. She came in pregnant. She didn't know that she was pregnant,
Okay.
and she was quite far gone.
Yeah.
But because she was like quite slim from the stress of knowing that she was going to prison, she had a child. You know, like some people, they don't deal with their appetite well. So she came in. I think she was like 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
And we're like, how did you not know you were 4 months pregnant?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, now that I'm looking, but she just looks like, you know, a little bit bloated.
Yeah.
But then it was like the moment she found out, the bump
it just came out.
it's like it blew up like a balloon.
Yeah,
like it was crazy. So yeah,
So did she find out by pissing on that stick? Then?
Yeah. When she first came in, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So she gave birth while she was in prison.
So what happened to her child? Did they have to give the child away? Was she allowed to keep the child?
So what happens is, depending on how long you got, what they'll do is there's mother and baby units in prison.
Okay.
And Holloway used to have one, but they didn't have one anymore. And the next place was Peterborough.
Okay.
So, but lucky for her, she gave birth, I think it was about 4 days before a release date.
Okay.
So I remember one of the screws that said to her, just don't say you haven't done a number 2.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't done number 2, they can't discharge you.
Okay. Yeah.
So she stayed in hospital saying, I haven't gone poo.
So
So like, oh yeah, she can't go nowhere.
yeah.
So officers had to stay there with her, and she was tending for a baby. Come a release date, she's like, yeah, I've gone poo. Discharged, bang, she was gone.
She was alright.
But had she had longer, she ended up having to get moved to Peterborough, where there's a mother and baby unit.
It's
And
quite
I
far
think,
as well, yeah.
pardon?
It's quite far from.
Yeah, it's
Holloway.
quite far from London. Yeah, that's the thing with female prisons. I think there's like 12 prisons for females in England.
And I just wanted to touch on that as well because I've been Peterborough myself, and it's crazy because you can see the women's side.
Yeah.
And you could even see them going about and that as
Yeah.
well. So that's mad. Even though obviously we're not in the same.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same establishment but 2 different prisons.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So or if there wouldn't have been enough space, you're allowed to hand your baby out to a family relative, and then what they'll do a thing called guardianship,
Yeah.
where you sign over guardianship for however long,
You got, yeah.
and then when you come out, you're able to take back that guardianship, and you've got your child back.
Yeah.
So yeah, but some people, unfortunately, they've got no family or nothing.
Okay.
Some of their children go to care.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I was gonna ask you, what about the male staff members? So like, obviously, there was male staff workers working in the prison, innit? So
Yeah.
male officers and that. Like, was it awkward? Was women getting in relationships with them? Like, or was they corrupt or whatever? Because I know obviously.
I heard stories, but I never seen anything. But I do remember there was this. He wasn't a screw, but he kind of worked in. I don't really know what his job title was, but I remember his name was Ricky.
Yeah.
Black man.
Yeah.
And all the women fancied him. I didn't get it because to me he was too old.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like, he was kind of still with it.
Yeah.
So people, Ricky. But he was like, no, I'm not using my job type of thing.
Yeah.
There was one girl, I remember she told me a story. She was like, oh yeah, I heard him on the wing. She was like, so I was calling him. She was like, I took off my t-shirt and I was laid on my bed in my bra. I was
So
like, are you crazy?
Because she knew he was doing the checks and that.
Yeah, no, he weren't doing the checks. He just, he'll come over, open the hatch and have a look.
Yeah.
She said he came over, opened the hatch and I had a look. Just put the hatch back. I went about his business.
That's another thing as well, because like in men's prisons, you got female staff as well.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of the times they have to do the checks where they open the hatch bit. And then a lot of the times a man might be in there naked and it might be like a woman
Yeah.
checking it and that. Did you have that?
No.
So men wasn't checking, doing the
Yeah,
check?
no, men will, but
Yeah.
women, we don't walk around naked in ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's
yeah.
just something that we don't do.
Yeah.
I didn't do it anyway.
Oh.
But I remember there was this one screw that, they do night check, they knock on the door
Yeah.
and they're like, can you put your hand up or blah, but that's
Yeah.
what they used to do when I was in prison anyway. And I remember there was this one guy, I just got a vibe from him. I just thought he was a bit weird
Yeah.
because he put the torch on and he'd be looking at you for time.
Yeah.
And I used to think, is he getting off on this? And I remember one time, I was like led in bed. I stayed up late that night, and he's got the light, and he thinks I'm sleeping. And I've just pulled out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
what are you looking at? And he's like, okay, ladies, okay. And he's gone about his business. But generally, no. From what I know, they don't have any relationships with the prisoners. But I did hear about a relationship that took place in, what's the other feet? It's like near Surrey. I can't remember what it's called now.
Downview? Or
No,
is
not
it,
Downview.
I forgot the name of that prison, but I know what you're talking about. Is it a private jail?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a private jail. Yeah, I heard about one girl got pregnant by one of the screws in there.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
I've literally heard that.
Yeah.
But okay, so are they allowed to search you, like
No.
outside search?
No.
Yeah.
Only females allowed to search you.
Because girls were allowed to search guys.
No, it shouldn't be. I don't think that's even allowed.
Oh,
I don't think that's legally allowed.
Is it?
Yeah.
That just happens.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah.
That search was different though, because like a normal search, they just do, this.
Yeah.
But in female jail, they'll like go along there, go underneath your
the bra,
breast.
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that because what they used to do, I don't know, they did this in. I literally just remembered this. I don't know, they used to do this in male's jail, but in female's jail, if you're going like, when you're on free flow. Is it called free flow?
Yeah, free flow.
Free
when
flow.
you're going off the wing.
Yeah, when you're going off the wing. Yeah, so you're going on free flow, and what they'll do, they'll instead of it coming across like they're being prejudiced or they're picking the same person each time, they'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 person, you're getting searched.
Yeah.
So it was like a fair type of situation. But that's what they used to do to try and find drugs. But generally, there's hardly any drugs in female prisons.
I was gonna get onto as well, like, because obviously, as you already know, because of your whole what you went jail for, like, men's prisons, most of them, anyways, they're flooded with like drugs, phones, and that. Is it the same for like women's prisons? Is drugs smuggled in? Did you see any mobile phones at the time?
No mobile phones. The only drugs that would get brought in is people that have come in from being out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they'll plug them or, I don't know, find a way to bring them.
Yeah.
But generally, they would be on so in female prison, even if you've got a positive piss test for like weed, you're going on the druggy wing.
Oh, they're
all the
classic,
yeah. And they're all there like on their pipes and shit, like, so...
And they would have come in with drugs themselves.
Yeah, they'll come in with drugs. But apart from that, no, there's not really... Women's jail, they use things like Subutex, and I remember there was one girl drinking some kind of perfume because it had alcohol in it.
So that.
Yeah. And I was like, you lot are mad. You could die.
So that.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
What about spicing that? Was spicing...
No.
So there wasn't much drugs, only people bringing it in, and then once they smoked...
There was one of my friends, I'm not going to say who she is because she had a lot of shit in the media. Yeah. She had... I don't know where she got it from. I didn't ask her because I didn't smoke. But I remember one time she got weed, but you could smell it because nobody smokes anything. Not because nobody smokes, but because you can't get hold of it. You could, if somebody had a spliff, you could smell it all down the wing.
Yeah.
If you're on exercise, you can smell it in the air. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And she, I don't know how she got hold of it. I never asked her, but she was smoking. Yeah. Smoking.
What about mobiles then?
No mobiles. I remember on one occasion, again, somebody had brought it in, but she didn't even hide it.
Yeah.
She came in, she had her jacket on, and she had her phone in her jacket. I think it might have been a late one.
Yeah.
The screws didn't search her
it
properly.
yeah.
So of course you're not gonna be, oh, but my phone,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So she came in with it and she had it for like 3 days.
Is
Before
everyone
somebody,
using it and stuff?
like 2 people used it or something like that. I heard about it. I was like, I ain't using it. I'm trying to get my tag.
Yeah. What was like your darkest memory while serving your sentence?
Okay, my mum. So this is one thing that I've learned. Before I went to prison, I was a control freak.
Yeah.
What I could control, I was a control freak. So when I went to prison, you know, you have to get into the mindset of, okay, this is out of my control and I can't do any. There's only so much that I control, but while you're in prison, you have no control.
Yeah.
You don't have control whether you open your door, you close your door. You don't really have control of when you can eat a hot meal.
Yeah.
Too tough.
Yeah. So
Yeah, for me, it was control. And I remember I got to the stage where I was like, literally everything is going wrong. And I just had this inkling one time. I was like, the only thing bad that can happen now is if my mum dies. And then I just became obsessed with my mum.
Yeah.
Like literally when I was in prison, nobody got phone calls from me. The only person I called was my mum. So I'm like, oh, I gotta check on my mum. I gotta check on my mum. I gotta check on my mum. But then like, also I know that I contribute because my mum has a drinking problem.
Yeah.
And I know I made her drinking problem worse when I went to prison.
Because she was stressing her out.
Yeah, because I stressed her out.
And that was like riding on your head.
Yeah.
Making you feel guilty.
Yeah, definitely. That was probably the hardest part.
Yeah, just so you was just like sat there thinking like,
yeah,
your mum.
Yeah, my mum.
I did that as well. I think a lot of people do that. They just like, they think they don't want to lose a loved one. I know so many people that's lost their loved ones while they're inside. And it's the worst because you just feel like you wasn't there. I want to ask you, is it pussy politics?
Yeah.
What's all that about, the pussy politics in prison?
It's just like, I didn't understand it. Because look, so check this, right? When females come into prison, there'll be the studs.
Yeah.
The studs like the fresh meat.
Yeah.
But the fresh meat comes, oh no, I've got a boyfriend. Yeah. Then within 3 weeks, like, oh yeah, I'm bi-curious.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, it changed that quick.
Yeah.
Have you got that much of a high sex drive that you? Because with me, I went in there, I was like, no, I got a man. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, that might change. No, it won't.
Yeah.
I've got my own. Like, I don't. Obviously, I'm straight, so I don't get it. But fighting, arguing. People they write love notes get passed around. Like they go down to education. Like some people go, right, I'm gonna go on this course, you go on that course, we're gonna be at the same time, we'll meet in the toilets
and do bits in the toilet
and then do what they're doing in the toilets.
Swear down.
It's disgusting. And then like sexually transmitted infections going around as well.
Is there did you used to hear like a lot of sex going on in the wings and that?
No, because they're probably trying to change this now because there's actually it discriminates against lesbians. But while you're in female prison, if you're in a relationship with a girl, because people do get into relationships and they'll be in long-term relationships as well, especially if they've got like a long sentence, they won't let you chuck up in the same cell. They won't let it happen. They'll keep on complete separate wings. So that's why they're like, oh, let's meet in education. And oh, if you go to this class, do you get what I'm trying to say? Can you pass this note to my girlfriend? And then cheating happens, and you got girls fighting. I'm just like, all this for another vagina? Like, are you serious?
It's nuts. I was speaking to another girl that's gone to prison, but this is obviously since you've been to prison, because you went a while ago. And she was saying like, on the broomstick handles, they put like squared, like,
oh my god,
squared things on top of it, and then bananas, when they're giving out bananas in the surgery,
I was gonna say that
they cut it up and that they don't give it to you as a whole banana.
Oh, they cut it up now?
Yeah, they cut it up
because I remember there was this woman in there, again, I'm not gonna say what her name is, but she was like a stud, but she was quite confusing because come the day we have banana, I want a straight one. I want a straight one. And I was like, why does she? I never got it because I could be quite naive sometimes. Like, why does she want a straight one? And I was like, oh, that's why. And they would always want it to be like, you know, when the banana's green, it's still like, it's not ripe yet. It's still kind of hard. So they want the less ripest one possible. Keep it at the side so it's like cold up on the window. So it stays. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it stays hard, and then when they're ready to use it.
That's mad.
But yeah, I didn't know that they started cutting it up. That's wrong. I mean, come on, you got to get your kicks somehow.
Nah, but are you proud of what you've done since you've come out of prison?
So when I left prison, I decided that I would study, and I studied criminology or criminal justice, and I just graduated this year.
Wow.
So
So was there any reason that you wanted to get into like the criminal justice?
just because of the way, you know, a lot of people that work in this system have never been through the system.
Yeah.
So for me, like I always say, that I care about my community.
Yeah.
So I want to not give back, but just enlighten my people on how this system is. Like I say, don't fall victim to the system.
Yeah.
Like it's just something you don't want. So that's the reason why I went and got that degree.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with that degree? What job would you like to get into?
I would like to do, you know, something like victim support or supporting ex-offenders.
Yeah.
You know, because this is the thing, you find it's very challenging when you come out because there's hardly any help.
Yeah.
Like the civil service help is non-existent.
Yeah.
You mostly rely on charities.
Yeah.
So I want to be like, you know, part of one of those charities where I'm like, okay, we can access this grant, we can access this education program. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like give people another option rather than going and committing crime again.
Yeah, big respect, man.
So yeah.
That's big respect. Is there any advice you'd give to like any other women that might be in relationships with a guy in jail that might be in the same position that you was in?
Yeah.
Because you're not with that guy anymore, innit?
No. So I would say don't receive any transactions on your account.
No.
Don't do that because that's money laundering.
Yeah.
And that can fuck up your credit history.
And that's what happened to you, innit? You got money
Yeah,
laundering.
money laundering as well, yeah. Confiscation order on my head for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And secondly, don't get involved with any type of drug. You know, a lot of guys do their thing in prison, and most of the time it's their girlfriend or girl that they're talking to that will do it for them.
Yeah.
You know, the girl may feel special. No, they're just using you. Don't do it. That would be my advice. Just do everything that's legit. Sending photos, writing letters, taking phone calls. Even I remember when I got arrested, like, receiving a call from a mobile phone in prison is illegal. I'm like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Like that's probably as far as I would take it.
Yeah. So you like receive it because it's illegal for someone to receive a call if it's coming from a mobile phone, but
but you can't block it.
Yeah.
You can't block it. Do you get what I'm saying? You can block it, but if that's your loved one, you're not gonna. Oh no, I might get in trouble. You're not gonna get in trouble. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They're the ones that's gonna get in trouble.
Yeah. So what about for a girl that might be coming into prison for the first time? Is there any advice you'd give to her about how to maybe move, avoid bullying, whatever?
Just be humble.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Number one, just be humble. Like most of the time, you get this misconception about all screws are pricks. They're not.
Yeah.
That's their job. They don't want drama every time they go to work. It's like any other job. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like if you treat them with respect, they'll treat you with respect. Obviously, you get the odd prick.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? But outside of that, and then also, I would say don't go on a hype thing. There's no point.
Yeah.
Like because if you got beef with someone, you can't run from them. They're there. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So just be humble, and then outside of that, I would just say like don't let it define like your future.
Yeah.
And then also be prepared. Like if you know you've got caught, go with your suitcase with some of your home comforts that you know you're allowed to bring in. That's what because that's what I did.
Yeah. All right, that was brilliant, man. Flipping Delinquent Nation. Oh
yeah. Niggas ask what happened, I don't know what happened. To me I'm just the same old dude. Alright. The hoes them trapping, bros them clapping. To me it's just the same old news. It's a so sad thing, got bros on landings, beefing with the same old scrolls. I'm like, God, can you hear us now? We grew up rough but we feel us now, yeah.